There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was privacy. Went through hard and fear, tip down, blow me, crypto boys blow. Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto golden rum. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and go. Take our treasure and go.
Hi there, everybody.
What's going on, people? Welcome to this today's AMA on WARRR, which, from some of the looks of it, based off of reactions and based off of one of the polls that we put up on Twitter, seems like not too many people understand what WARRR is, what it can do, and things like that. So, figured we'd hold an AMA and just have people ask questions. I can give a brief overview of it beforehand, before the questions, so this way that might answer some of them. But for those of you who still have questions afterwards, feel free to raise your hand in Discord, or if you're on YouTube or anywhere else, just post them up in chat, and then we'll pull them off of there as well. So, just a brief overview of what WARRR is. WARRR is a wrapped tokenized version of Pirate Chain, right? Now, what does that mean? What that means is a token is published on Ethereum, which is where we're intending to go. I've had actually quite a bit of feedback on that, suggesting BSC instead due to the Ethereum fees, which I'm still playing with. But anyways, we publish a token on Ethereum that has a specific supply. In this case, it would probably be around 10 to 15% of the total supply of ARRR. And then from that point, all of that gets sent into a gateway and locked and left until, say, somebody from Pirate wants to, say, convert ARRR to WARRR and, provide liquidity over there or buy or sell or do whatever. So they would send their R into the gateway, and the gateway um, would give them WARR. So it's a 1-to-1 conversion. So 1 R equals 1 WARR, obviously. So from that point, we provide liquidity onto Uniswap, or if it ends up being BSC, it'd be PancakeSwap. And then after that, users can also add to that liquidity and then stake it. Now, for those of you who don't know what staking is, a staking contract is where you provide an asset or a liquidity asset or so forth, whatever is specified by that project, and you lock it up into that staking contract. Now, you can remove your liquidity or asset or whatever from the staking contract at any point, but when you provide liquidity and stake it, you will, in this case, you will generate WARR based off of transaction fees and things like that that occur on the network. There's a 1% transaction tax that occurs when you transfer funds anywhere, send it from one wallet to another, where buy or sell or whatever. The reason for that is to incentivize users to provide liquidity. It's also there to help provide funds for the project, for R. And on top of that, staking is something that's huge in crypto, especially with rewards. So you actually be able to get rewarded for providing liquidity. So now here comes the use case. Now the use case for this, the obvious ones are, hey, it opens up a whole new group of people that will be able to purchase R from somewhere else, especially on a decentralized exchange, such as Uniswap or PancakeSwap. But that's not the main use case. The main use case is being able to delink addresses. So here's how this works. Say you have some WARR, and then that's on a Ethereum address, and you're like, okay, I want to create a new Ethereum address and not have those two linked by sending funds directly to it. What you can do is you can unwrap your WARR by sending it back through the gateway to convert it to R, and then rewrap it to that new address. Or if you already have R, you can just create a new Ethereum address, send it to there. Now it's a completely fresh wallet, and it's not linked to you, because nobody knows where that R came from. Because, it's all being sent out via a gateway. So, essentially, you can delink wallets or just create completely clean wallets by just sending WARR to it, for like wrapping R and sending WARR to the wallet itself, and then you can do what you want to do. And you can continually do that with any new wallet address you bring up. So as this service becomes more popular, or if it's really popular to begin with, it's an easy way to just break away what wallets you have from your personal known addresses, if that makes sense to people. And that's why, we're going to also take questions and things like that for those of you who may not fully understand or still have questions. So, but yeah, aside from that, that's basically the entire process. And as far as the amount of tokens that will be available, like I said, we will mint about 10 to 15% of the total supply of R. However, we will have only 5% available in the very beginning. The reason for this is that we don't want too much WARR circulating right at the beginning. But there can be there can be an issue to where, say, somebody would brick the gateway. Now, what that means is somebody basically buying up all the WARR and just preventing people from sending or any more WARR through the gateway. Because if the gateway runs out of WARR and somebody tries to send R to it to convert, it'll send it right back to them. And it'll also say, hey, there's only so much WARR available right now, and we can't issue you any WARR for your R. Now, the thing that happens with this is somebody just basically screws with the market over there, blah, blah, blah. This is why we don't want to code ourselves into a corner. So by locking up the remaining of the supply via a multi-sig address that's controlled by the team, what ends up happening is if that event were to ever happen, or even if, let's say, the gateway runs out of WARR because a lot of people are starting using that service, then we can provide additional supply to that gateway, and then more and more people can use it. Now, if there ever comes a time where it's not getting as much use and things like that, and there's a lot of WARR in the gateway, we can also pull some of that and lock that back up into the supply that's under multi-sig. So, yeah, so that's the basics of how it works. I'm assuming there's probably going to be a shitload of questions. So, yeah, if you have any, raise your hand. We'll bring you up, and then you can ask a question. Is there any from any socials, CACs, or anything?
Okay, so should I start with the first questions?
Yep.
Okay, so the first one is from Benny Aminov on YouTube. Has there ever been hacks that occurred on the Ethereum network for wrapped tokens? If so, how many, and what protocols are being implemented to prevent that from occurring to WARR?
As far as hacks go, I mean, the only thing that I know of in terms of tokens that has nothing to do with exchanges is because this stuff isn't on an exchange, is basically utilizing flaws in a contract, which this is a very, very basic contract. And same thing with the staking contract. There's zero flaws in it. It's been audited. Well, it's the same. Essentially, it's the same contract that has been used for Nightlife Crypto, which has been audited and everything else. So literally, everything's perfect with that. And there's no. Keep in mind, a lot of the times that shit gets hacked or messed up from other projects that do stuff like this is that if they have a minting function. If you have a minting function within a project, that opens up a lot of doors that, potential things can happen where people mint a crap load of tokens and just dump it, which there is no minting function or burning function within WARR at all, so there's nothing to worry about on that end.
Great. Then Zulu on YouTube again is asking, who will provide the first batch of ARRR to be locked on Uniswap?
I'll throw in some. That was the original plan. I'll be providing some liquidity myself. And then from that point, any user who wants to provide liquidity and then stake it, more than welcome to. The idea is that a lot of the community will stake WARR because, you'll get rewarded for doing so. So it's not like a short-term thing anyways, in the sense of, I'm going to stake WARR and then unstake it as soon as I get some rewards. No, that's not how it works. It's a long-term thing. So for people who, especially hodlers who just want to utilize their funds in such a way to where they can get more, is a perfect opportunity for them.
Okay, thank you for that. Spell Clicker on Twitch is asking how much R would be needed to stake on the Ethereum network. Is there any restrictions to minimum deposit to get active staking, or how many? What is the minimum amount of R that is needed to stake?
You can stake 0.01 R if you want. It really doesn't matter. It's just, keep in mind if there's, say, a ton of people staking, and say there's, I don't know, maybe like $250,000 or $1 million in liquidity staked, and you provide 10 cents, realistically, you're not going to get rewarded that much because, 10 cents out of 10 million is barely anything. So,
thank you. Power of 9 is asking on YouTube, are we trading a private coin, R, to a traceable coin of wARRR?
well, see, here's the thing. You are not in any way, shape, or form hindering the R chain. The R chain remains exactly how it is, 100% private, no issues. The only thing that, yeah, while you may be trading R for wARRR, which is transparent, you're not, the point of wARRR, the absolute point of wARRR is to be able to basically de-link your wallet addresses on a transparent system. So it's providing you a way to have a fresh wallet without, linking the two wallets that you own together. Because say you have a ton of funds on one wallet, how are you going to get that to another wallet? Because everything's traceable, right? However, if you create a new wallet, unwrap wARRR, then rewrap it to that new one, now nobody knows where the hell that came from or whose address that is. So it's, while yes, wARRR is not private, but the service that utilizes wARRR allows you to have some anonymity in a transparent chain.
Does that mean that those from the transparent chain, they can get to anonymity by transferring their funds to wARRR and then to R?
Absolutely. Yeah, so if you wanted to just make your funds basically disappear, buy wARRR, and then just convert it to R, you're done.
Okay, thank you for that. Wild Wild West Crypto on YouTube is asking, does this change the total cap of R? I'm assuming it's the same in a way as wARRR. Can I send from Treasure Chest wallet to wrapping it? I'm a newbie with staking.
Okay, so there is a different max total supply when it comes to R and wARRR. wARRR is just going to have a fraction of the total supply of R. Because honestly, we don't want all of the coins from R to go on to a transparent chain, right? And keep in mind, this is just a service, right? Yeah, you can trade wARRR and it should reflect about the same price of R itself, but, it is in itself a service, right? So all R and wARRR is 1-to-1. You send 1 R over to the gateway to convert to wARRR, you receive 1 wARRR on the other side, plain and simple. So it's always 1-to-1. We'll also have a system that shows the circulation of each, the amount of R in the gateway and the amount of wARRR in the gateway and so forth, and it'll always match up, obviously, because literally, like I said, it's 1-to-1.
Thank you for that.
Actually, hold on one second. So as far as the treasure chest thing, yes. Any wallet that you have that has R in it, you can send to the gateway to convert to wARRR, as long as you provided a Ethereum address or whatever.
So to the question, does the total cap change? Does it change?
No.
And should we mention here what? Okay, yeah, cool.
Think of it like this, real quick. Think of it like this, right? So you go to a casino. You have $20 in your pocket in fiat. Then you give the casino $20 in your fiat, and they give you a $20 casino chip. Still $20. So when you go back to redeem it, it's still $20. The supply hasn't changed at all. It's just changing the asset.
Thank you for that. So
Well,
Laras is
real,
asking on Discord, will the war liquidity be locked for a certain period of time, and if so, for how long?
the liquidity will be locked for a year because that seems pretty typical nowadays. Um, as far as the amount of liquidity, like I said, I'll provide some of my own funds, and whoever else from the team wants to provide some funds for that as well, just to have some initial liquidity. It really isn't going to matter too much as far as the amount of liquidity that the team provides, because the vast majority of liquidity is going to come from users staking and things like that. So.
Okay, so Johnny Two Shoes from YouTube is asking, what is it good for?
Absolutely everything. I'm assuming that was a joke, but yeah, I've already explained what it's good for.
Well, I guess
Um,
the main points that you mentioned so far is that one, it can anonymize funds from the Ethereum network back and forth. It can expose us to a new audience of, Uniswap investors, and that it doesn't do any. It doesn't sort of affect the total cap or
yeah, and
the
plus it doesn't affect our
privacy
chain.
level of the
It
chain.
doesn't affect our chain in any way, shape, or form. There's no hard fork required. Nothing. It works as is. And to answer some of the questions that are being said in the weekly meeting chat, CHMX, yes, the war will be backed 1-to-1 by R. So, and when you said, he says, meaning you mint 15 war and you have 15 R in the gateway. We don't actually mint. There is no minting function. I know that it's semantics, but it's actually really important in this case. There is absolutely no minting function in the contract because that can be dangerous. So it's the entire supply is generated at the token generation event, and most of it is locked with 5% of the five was five yeah, so 5% being distributed to the gateway for people to convert R and war. So, but yeah, there's no minting function. Cax has a question: would war track the price of R? Would they be independent based on trading volume of war? The way that we're going to set this up is that we're going to have it so that it's listed under pirate. I believe this can be done even with the differentiating total supplies, but I believe this can be done, and that's the intent of what we're going to do. So you'll be able to see PancakeSwap or Uniswap or whatever on the exchange list under Pirate Chain. Laura says not a peg separated pool. Yeah, there's no peg. It's realistically, it's especially when you involve trading, it's near impossible to have an exact peg. Because I mean, look at Tether, for example, or any other uh, you know U.S. dollar peg token that's out there. Yeah, it claims as a dollar, but it always fluctuates between 98 cents or $1 or whatever. So it's near impossible to have a real peg. Ryan asks, how much is the gas fees to transfer one war? Will cost $30+ to move $4 worth being based on ethanol. That's why I'm still kind of up in the air whether it should be on BSC or Ethereum. BSC's fees are a shitload cheaper, and it's just as massive as PancakeSwap is just as massive as Uniswap. So I'm still tossing that up in the air. I mean, realistically, it makes no difference because both use Ethereum style addresses, so there's no real. I mean, it's just all it is BEP20 versus ERC20, so there's no major difference. It's just different networks. So, Mark Anthony said, if there's a DEX on the Cardano network that has an F bridge to convert tokens on the Cardano network, would wARRR work with that as well? So, from my understanding, if it works anything like Polygon, because Polygon has a system in which it'll bring over tokens. When that happens, it removes it basically makes it a basic token contract with nothing else associated with no staking, no fees, no nothing else. So it removes all that stuff from it. Just basically makes it a token on their network. So that is possible, but I'd rather do what the guys at Nightlife Crypto did, which is basically launch on each network if that's what we plan to do. But that's not any conversations that we've had thus far. We're only going to list on one network, as far as to my knowledge. You can send an R to clean BNB addresses and still be private. And so, okay, so Lara said you can send an R to a clean BNB/ETH address and still be private, and swap back to another Z address. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, that's what they call wrapping and unwrapping. So you wrap R to create wARRR, or you unwrap wARRR to create R. Or not create, but convert to R.
Zulu is asking on YouTube, would wARRR be compatible with MetaMask wallet or any other particular wallet?
Yes, it will.
So you will be able to hold wARRR in MetaMask?
Yep. If wARRR is on Ethereum, yes, you can do it natively. If it's not on Ethereum and it's on BSC, you'll just have to add another network to in MetaMask to be able to see it. So.
Johnny Two Shoes is asking from YouTube, what's the percentage likely to be? I'm assuming he means wARRR versus R.
Yeah, so like I said, we will create a supply of wARRR that's somewhere between 10 to 15% of the total supply of R. So 10% of the supply of R is 20 million tokens, 15% is 30 million, obviously. But anyways, yeah, so there'll be anywhere between 20 to 30 million wARRR created and then locked up. And then 5% of the supply of R, which is 10 million tokens, 10 million wARRR. So 10 million wARRR will be sent to the gateway initially. So this way, people will be able to go back and forth. And then if any more is required, or if there's a reason to remove some and lock it into the multi-sig wallet that's controlled by the team, then we'll do that as well.
Okay. Ren's Tap is asking, what is the interest rate for staking for 12 months?
So this is something that has really bothered me for a long time, because a lot of these projects out there say, "Oh, we have a massive APY, or we have X number of APY," but their APY is variable. Like, there's tons of projects that I've seen out there that, like, you can give an APY to somebody, or give the APY for staking something. 5 minutes later, more people staking it, and the APY drops. So it's like, it's not an actual APY; it's variable. So literally, there's no real number you can give that's accurate. So in terms of wARRR, the only thing that I can say is 1% of 0.5% of so half of the transaction tax goes to liquidity stakers. So 0.5%. So if there's a lot of volume, then liquidity stakers are pulling in tons of wARRR, right? And keep in mind too, what you can do, for those of you who don't know, is you can claim your rewards. So you claim the wARRR that you've gotten awarded to you from staking without unstaking. So if you really wanted to, what you could do is you can claim WARR and then send it back through the gateway for R. So you're just continually getting R at that point.
Nucleus is asking, there is WARR earned via staking. From which funds is the necessary amount of additional R coming from to fulfill those, that staking function?
Well, no, because that's disregarding the transaction tax. So the transaction, there's nothing being minted at all ever, right? So the funds that are being paid to the stakers and the projects, all that stuff is from the transfer taxes, which is sending from wallet to wallet or buying and selling or whatever. So whenever
should we clarify something here, that we are talking about liquidity staking versus what other people think of staking, such as minting?
so there's two different types of staking, right? I mean, there's more, but two main types. There's naked staking, which is just staking the asset itself, so just staking WARR and that's it. There's also liquidity staking, which means that you take a portion of your WARR, or take your WARR and provide that along with the opposite asset, which is in this case Ethereum. So you provide both WARR and Ethereum into Uniswap, or even WARR BNB into PancakeSwap to supply liquidity. And then what ends up happening is you get liquidity tokens from that, right, from Uniswap or PancakeSwap. Those are the tokens that you'll stake, and then depending on your the amount you stake versus the total amount staked is the portion that you get from those 0.5% fees, or from the 0.5% that goes to the liquidity stakers. So if there's a lot of volume, you'll be generating a lot of WARR potentially. So.
Okay, that's brilliant. So Tom Kresge on YouTube is asking, will the rewards be paid in coins?
No, it's rewarded in WARR, which you can easily just send it back to R through the gateway and get R. Like I said, it's 1-to-1, so it's however much WARR you have, that's how much R you have.
So in ResTab is asking, what is the interest rate for staking WARR for 12 months?
Like I clarified that before. There is no interest rate. It's all dependent on transactions. So if there's a crap ton of transactions that happen and you're staking, then that's however much you're getting. It's all dependent on how much you stake. Obviously, it's all dependent on how many transactions or buys or sells occur on that network with WARR and so forth. So there's no number that you can actually give for APY. And 95% of other projects, pretty much every project that I've seen out there that has a quote-unquote APY, literally it's just a number. It doesn't mean anything, because that number will change within minutes or hours or even a day. That number will change depending on how many people stake and do all this other stuff. I've seen projects that have like a 10,000 APY that get reduced to like 3% because so many people threw money in there, and it was a legit project. So realistically, there is absolutely no way to determine an APY over a course of really any period of time.
Scott, not from the future, is asking, can we get WARR listed in the next ADDX release so we don't need to manually add and get a little liquidity on ADDX, hopefully?
Oh, wait, say that again?
He's asking if we can get WARR listed in the next ADDX release.
ADDX release?
Yeah.
Can you spell it?
ADEX.
Oh,
ADDX.
ADDX? Maybe. I don't know. I prefer to only utilize fully decentralized exchanges and stuff. So like Uniswap. That's a great one because there's nobody that controls your funds. It's all done via your wallet.
There's a question from YouTube. When will wARRR be available?
So we are, I'm creating the UI for the page to deposit, or not deposit, to utilize the gateway. It's going to be very, very basic. We're also going to be using a subdomain off of our website. This way, it's really easy to find. But yeah, there's still some work that needs to be done first. So it should be ready. It should be available within about a week and a half, I would say, something like that. But we'll keep everyone posted on that.
Okay, thank you for this. I think somebody asked before if you can hold wARRR in the Light wallet.
No, the Light wallet, no. Any native Pirate Chain wallet only holds R. Not it won't hold wARRR. That's what MetaMask and all those other things are for. So.
Okay, so ADEX was Atomic Dex. I'm sorry,
Oh,
I was not familiar with that abbreviation.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, absolutely. I don't see why not.
Yeah, if it has ERC20 compatibility, or like it can be listed there already because there is a bridge, then of course.
Let's see. Let's see. Centralized. No, I know, but it's also a trade-off. Because the thing is that with BSC, while they did basically blacklist a bunch of crazy shit, the fees on Ethereum are astronomical. Like imagine trying to buy $10 worth of wARRR and paying $60 on a transaction fee. It's ridiculous. I mean, the other way that we could potentially do it is, say, listing on Polygon, which is dirt cheap, and there's decentralized exchanges over there like QuickSwap, but at the same time, the user base isn't nearly as big as Ethereum or BSC, so it's a balancing act.
Sebastian Paul is asking, how is the gateway secured from people running off with the funds in it?
Wait, say that again?
He says, how is the gateway secured from people running off with the funds in it? He's asking how secure is the gateway system, and if it holds funds, can somebody just take it and leave?
No, it's identical to the system that's used in Polarity.
So how does that work? Is there a custodial involved?
That's more of a question for Wolf and his team. I couldn't answer that, to be honest, or not. I couldn't answer that effectively, I guess I would say.
Okay, so let's see if somebody wants to hold their hand if they have a question from Discord, then just do that. Just hold your hand up and we'll invite you to talk. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions. Is there a timeline for wARRR release? Asks Austin Reader. Did you hear that?
Say that again?
Is there a timeline for wARRR for the release?
Yeah, it should be about a week and a half. It shouldn't be much longer. So, like I said, I'm finishing up on some of the UI stuff, and then the Aureus team is finishing up on their end some of the stuff. So
Tusam is asking, can you guys clarify the claiming process and what keeps the WARRR to Ethereum pool balanced?
that has to do with the liquidity function within Uniswap itself. The claiming process for like it has nothing to do with the claiming process. It actually has to do with the liquidity process for providing liquidity and removing liquidity. So if, for example, you're providing liquidity and say the price of our WARRR goes down, right? And then you remove your liquidity, you then actually have more WARRR. You have more WARRR and less Ethereum when you withdraw because of the price differentiation, and it's in permanent loss, I think it's called. So it's a whole. I can send articles on that. That shit makes my head hurt. But yeah, I recommend doing some reading into how liquidity pools work within Uniswap. It's relatively complicated.
Great. I think that's been the majority of the questions so far. I think we answered pretty much quite a lot of stuff.
One thing somebody said was, rumor is Uniswap is going to begin requiring KYC. Well, if they do, that's going to kill pretty much most of their user base. So if they do, who cares? Because we could just migrate that liquidity onto another DEX somewhere that's just like Uniswap. They're a dime a dozen at this point. So
there's things like PancakeSwap, like SushiSwap, and a lot of others, right?
yeah, there's shitloads. So question from YouTube from that Cax said, will you have a step-by-step guide on the website when it's up? I get it, but I'm still confused. Trust me, man, this is, if you've never been in DeFi or been outside of this, like the parachain or just the native token space, native coin space, where you actually mine and do all that other stuff, DeFi and tokenization and all this other stuff, it can be very confusing. So I feel you on that. But to answer your question, yes. We have the amazing Paul that I'll be working with to create tutorial videos on how to do all this stuff with. So
send Paul.
you can, huh?
I said send Paul.
Send Paul. Oh, you mean Saint Paul?
He's a saint for what he's doing for us, right?
I thought you said sent. I'm like, what? Yeah. Paul is one of the best people at creating tutorial videos that I've ever seen. He's created quite a few for me, and he's amazing at it. So there's going to be several videos on how to do everything that I just talked about and things like that. So, and we'll post up those videos as soon as WARRR becomes live. It'll probably be maybe like a few days after WARRR goes live that we'll have those videos ready, because in the videos themselves we'll actually show how to do it while doing it in the video, so that people can just follow along. And Cax asks, when Ethereum swap? Tuesday.
Kelly Pie is asking, what will the starting price of WARRR be?
As soon as we're ready, I'm going to just go on CoinGecko and just calculate the price from there and then set it at that.
So it's going to be the same price as ARRR is on CoinGecko?
As close as possible, yes.
Functionally, there's no difference. It's the same ARRR, whether it's on Ethereum or it's just native, and therefore the price should always basically be the same. There may be some tiny discrepancies, but that's just from market activity or demand.
Thanks for coming in, Wolf. Can I address a couple of questions to you that were said here before, and I think you're the best person to answer them. So somebody asked, what stops Wolf to take all the money from the gateway and run to Venezuela?
I don't manage the keys, and as far as the structure, the actual gateway system will be set up. It'll be in conjunction with like the Pirate Chain team. So like Cold Balance will sit in a multi-sig treasury Gnosis vault, which the Gnosis technology secures billions of dollars on Ethereum. So there are a lot of like very basic distributed checks that are going to be put in place, and the team will have oversight as always to any view keys they need for verification.
Okay, so the other question was, is the gateway sort of custodial? Wolf.
To be specific, it's a coin wrapping server, the same way that you have like wrapped BTC or so however that's classified, which would be the what would fit.
Okay, so there's a question from YouTube from Radomir Tanase. He's asking, if R is doing so well and it's up, why stake it for 1 year with wARRR?
Because, for one, the funds that are coming from the team are personal funds, right? So more than likely, my funds, like in a year span, when they're available to be unlocked, probably what I'll do is I'll unlock them and then stake them, because the funds that are locked are not stakeable, right? Because they're locked. So as soon as they're unlocked, in my case, yeah, I'll just stake and call it a day. So the funds will still be there anyways. Now, in terms of why is it only staked for 1 year? I mean, because the vast majority of the liquidity is going to come from the community, people providing liquidity and staking. So there's no need to permanently lock it. Plus, you wouldn't want to permanently lock funds anyways. So.
Plus, it's not advisable to lock all your funds into wARRR, right? I mean, it's going to be a small...
Well, no, that wasn't really the point of the question. The point of the question is, when we send team funds over to provide liquidity, why is it only locked for a year?
No, I think he's asking, why would I stake it for a year if the coin is doing so well as it is now?
Well, if wARRR is producing a lot of volume, you'll be getting, over time, more wARRR than you actually staked. So, and then as the price increases, things like that, then you'll have even more money than you did before. Or more R or wARRR than you did before. They can easily just convert it back.
Perfect. I think this answer covers the question in every possible way. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I've spent the better portion of 6 months, like, thinking on all of this, on every single aspect of this damn project, as far as wARRR is concerned, because it needs to be perfect. It needs to work flawlessly. It needs to act and reward people properly. It needs to, while not disincentivizing people from using it. So the fees can't be too high or too low, so forth. Yeah, there's a. I know, it's funny because for the longest time I kept saying soon, but there's still things that needed to be debated in terms of, like, for example, how much wARRR should we make available, right? Sounds simple, but it's a lot more complicated than it seems. I mean, me and the team had a long conversation about this, hours long. It's very, very intricate, and that's why it's taken so long to finally come to the place where we're like, okay, everything that we have so far is perfect. Let's move forward with this.
Okay, I think that's most of the questions we have. So yeah, I don't see any further new questions from anywhere, unless somebody wants to come on and ask a question from Discord. No, I think we answered pretty much all of the questions, and obviously this is going to be available as a recording on YouTube. So if there's anything you want to look back on, you can obviously listen to that.
And the pirate chain shanty has his hand raised.
Yeah, there's two more tracks coming out, or three, I think, in the next 2 or 3 days, and the competition is ending on the 31st of August. So it's going to be over soon for those that do not like to listen to the track anymore, but to everybody else enjoying it, it is also coming to an end.
Any words you want to say, Forge? Maybe just hi?
I think Forge is ready to go to war.
Yeah. Not sure if he said hi or if his mic just cut out.
No, I said hi.
Ah, gotcha. Cool.
Oh,
Just
there
making
you go.
But yeah, I mean that's all I got. Unless anybody has any questions, which doesn't seem like it. So I think I answered everything, or any possible question that there could be.
One unrelated question what 2 or 3 people have asked on different networks is, when is the halving going to happen?
Soon, actually, right?
I think it's middle of September now.
Yeah. Wilhelm has his hand raised. Let me pull him in.
Hello,
What's up?
can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey guys, it's just like a question that everyone has already maybe asked, but is the regarding the Coinex matter? If any comment, it's I'm just curious.
Wait, say that again.
If is there any comments about
Coinex.
the Coinex problem?
Oh,
Yeah, well-
oh.
Well, in regards to
we're in
Coinex,
contact with them. Like I was talking to them last night. They're
I'll mute forward.
working on it. They just seem to have problems with their equipment.
Thank you guys for this time.
In terms of Coinex, it's still being worked out. Forge is still working on that. Actually, Forge, can you provide any insight?
Not really. They had a problem with Z build wrong transaction yesterday. They advised them to update their node to 5.2 and we'll try again. I haven't heard the results yet.
Gotcha.
so basically, yes. So essentially, we don't have more news. They're having technical issues on their side. We're trying to do our best to assist them to get out of those issues, but issues are pending. So we're waiting to hear back and see, if they can resolve them. I know that many people are frustrated about Coinex, including myself and a lot of people in the team, but there's nothing we can do. It's an external exchange with their staff. We're trying to assist them as best as we can to resolve their issues.
The one thing I can say though is that at least they're being pretty responsive, unlike places like GraviX, which, for those of you who haven't read the article that Cosius wrote on it, I highly recommend it. And Cax, if you can post that up, that'd be great.
Grave X.
Huh?
I think they should change their name to Grave X.
Yeah. Another guy has his right hand raised up. I'm gonna pull him in. I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce the name. Sent an invite to. All right, fine. I'll try to pronounce it. Guido. Guides, maybe. I don't know. So, okay, guess not. All right. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Anybody? All right. I think we're good. Tim.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Forge. Thank you, Wolf. Thank you, Cax. And thank you to everybody else who came today in this session about war. And we can announce it now that in 2 days' time, we will have another session to celebrate the 3 years of Pirate Chain on the 29th of August on Sunday. So yeah, so be there for
Bringing
that.
home and party hats. And actually, Guido actually is in here. What's up, buddy? You're the last person to ask a question. Can you hear me? Or is your mic on? Guess not. All right, just type it in chat. Okay. Appreciate everybody coming and had fun answering everybody's questions. There's some really solid questions out there. Want to close it out, Tim?
Yeah, Cax, it's your turn. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care.
There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was privacy. The winds blew hard and fear dipped down below me, crypto boys blow. She'd not been but 2 years from shore when her value it began to soar. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take those bankers in tow. Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto, gold and rum. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and go. Treasure and gold. Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto, gold and rum. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and gold. No chain was cut, no block was freed, and the captain's mind was not on greed, but he belonged to the pirates' creed and took those bankers in tow. For fiat days to be no more, the crypto sank then rose once more. Coins were lost, yet we do endure, and still that system did go. Soon may the pirate chain come to bring us crypto, gold and rum. One day when the system is done, we'll take our treasure and go. I've heard the fight's still on, the chain's not cut and the block's not gone. We pirates make our regular call, we're with the captain, the crew and all.